Yesterday, I showed you a fund that charges 2% per year plus 20% of the gains to give you access to 80 seed startup companies. Today, I want to show you exactly what the data says about every complex, high-fee investment structure versus the very simple possible alternatives. When we start looking at the S&P Dow Jones Indices, it tracks active fund performance against passive benchmarks, which we talk about when it comes to a lot of our ETF structures, looking at the last 25 years. Now, the verdict for this is not even close. After 15 years, in 0 out of 22 US equity categories, did a majority of active managers actually beat the benchmark? We are talking 0, none. The simplest portfolio won. Today, I want to tell you exactly why and how these portfolios keep winning. So let's go ahead and get into it. When we start thinking of the complexity, a deep human instinct is that complicated problems require very complicated solutions. Wealth building for a majority of people and investing seems like it is super complicated when it comes to building it. So thinking of a fund that has 80 holdings managed by venture capital companies charging large institutional fees seems like it is the right level of sophistication to really match what you're doing in wealth. Now, a fund that simply buys something like the S&P 500 and charges 3/100ths of a percentage point seems like it can't possibly enough. It is way too simple for every investor, and that instinct, understandably, is completely wrong. And the reason, starting with the arithmetic that never changes regardless of how intelligent the active manager actually is. When we start looking at every active fund, it starts the year already behind the benchmark. This is because of the fees that it charges. A large cap active fund manager is going to have an industry average of a 0.7 to a 1%. That means they must beat the S&P 500 by that exact amount to match it after the fees have been accumulated every single year, year over year. Before the manager even makes a decision, the fee has already been put into the hole, the funding paying that 0.70 annually for 30 years, assuming identical performance. And really looking at the production, you are approximately losing 19% of your portfolio over a 30-year period versus just investing into something like the VOO at that 0.03%. The gap is not the talent, it is mathematics over an extended amount of time. Higher fees require more performance just to hit that break-even mark and before delivering the excessive returns that really justify the complexity that we see in the investing. Now, every single year, the S&P Dow Jones Indices publish the SPIVA scorecard, SPIVA. It is the most comprehensive, ongoing study of active versus passive investors in the world. 25 years of data, and here's what it shows for US large cap equity funds versus the S&P 500. Year number one, 65% underperform right off the bat. So you are talking one single year, they are not going to outperform the S&P 500. When we get into 10 years, that number advances to 85% of active funds will never beat the S&P 500, and they do not beat the S&P 500. Then we start looking at 15 years, you're looking at 90%. That means you have a 1 in 10 odds that an active fund manager is actually going to beat the indexee. Then when we start looking at 20 years, you're looking at 92% underperform at 20 years, meaning that practically nobody beats the benchmark when you look at an extended amount of time. Even when you advance this to 25 years, the numbers just keep getting much narrower. Now, the underperformance rate rises significantly over the time horizon like we just seen. This is not structural, this is not bad luck, and the most striking number over 15 years, 0 out of 22 US equity categories had a majority of active managers that can outperform the market itself. Not 0 on average, 0 in every single category, large cap, mid cap, small cap, growth, value, blend. Not one beat the performance. A fair objective, when we look at the SPIVA, has survivalship basis. Funds that are closed are excluded from some calculations. Even critics who argue it overstates the underperformance when we start looking at the passive index beats the majority of active over that extended amount of time. The debate is whether the number is 90% or possibly lower, but not whether the index wins a majority of the time, because we know the index does. Now apply this directly to the RVII analysis that we did yesterday. When you look at professional active managers, the established funds usually charge a 0.6 or a 0.8 annually, and 89.5% of them still underperform over a 15-year period. Then we look at the RVII, charges 2% annually plus 20% of every dollar of the capital gains. The fee hurdle must clear to match the VOO is 3 times higher than the hurdle that is already defeating 90% of active professional managers. And those managers are not lazy, they are out to make money. Many of them are among the most sophisticated investors in the world. Fees, market efficiency defeat them anyways. When we start looking at what Robinhood offers, it is really much further behind because of the fee structure that it does require. Now, there is a bull case for this that requires identifying the next. When you look at something like Airbnb, among the 80 seed startups that we've seen, with over a 90% failure rate in this investment, generating returns large enough to cover that 2% fee, and then the annual fees for the next 7 to 10 years, paying 20% to carry Robinhood Ventures, and still outperforming on those dollars. It is a significantly harder problem than one to already defeat a vast majority of professional fund managers year after year after year. So as simple does not mean very unsophisticated. The simpler version of the portfolio is 3 ETFs in the entirety: the VOO, the QQQM, the SCHD. Total blend exposure is under a 0.1%. No active manager, no performance fee, no level 3 evaluation, full liquidity every single trading day. Simple wins for 3 structural reasons. First, it eliminates the fee drag that defeats 90% of active managers before they make a single decision. Second, it removes the behavioral errors that compound from that fee problem. The Delbar study shows that an average investor earns meaningful less than the fund does on its own. That is because they buy after a rally, they sell during a correction. A 3 ETF with automatic contributions eliminates most of the decision points where those errors do happen. Third, it compounds at a market rate. At 15.25 annualized over 30 years, $500 a month in the VOO alone will produce over $3 million. The one thing Simple genuinely gives up are the extreme outliers. The VOO is never going to return 100x. A successful venture fund capturing, let's say, the next Airbnb could do that. At 1 to 3% of a well-built portfolio, it is an option and it is defensible at that rate. As I said yesterday, when we look at the core of the portfolio, replacing the VOO and the QQQM, the data says do not do it. Here's the honest tension this channel has. My portfolio holds 6 positions, not just 3. If simple beats complex, then why not just hold the VOO, the QQQM, and the SCHD? That is because every position that I hold is a passive index ETF. There are no active managers actually making discretionary picks. The SPMO tracks momentum systematically. The SMH is tracking the semiconductor index. Even looking at the QTIM, which is tracking that quantum index, they are thematically complex but structurally passive. The fee drag problem that really defeats those active managers does not apply when you're looking at a 0.03 to a 0.4. The VOO at 20% of my portfolio still remains the foundation, and there's nothing that is going to replace it over an extended amount of time. The simplicity argument wins for the core, but the satellites are really built around it, not instead of it. So here is the verdict, guys. Over 25 years of data across different time horizon and really every equity category we've seen, passive investing has beaten active investing in an overwhelming majority of cases. And the longer the time horizon, the more decisive the information has come. The fee drag is structural. The behavioral errors are very predictable. Simple wins not because it's lazy, it wins because it eliminates the 2 disadvantages that defeat almost everything else. If someone offers you a complex high fee structure, apply the SPIVA test to it. Ask, what is the evidence that this is going to outperform simple index investing after the fees within the next 15 years? If the answer in the story is exclusive access or exceptional managers rather than the data that they provide you in the track record, the simplest alternative is probably going to be the right answer for the majority of your money. Now, guys, drop a comment down below, 3 simple ETF portfolio, or do you want any of the complexity alongside of it? Are you owning and do you have any active funds that you have right now? Do you know whether they've beaten the VOO over the last 10 years? Look it up. Let me know in the comments. I read every single reply and I will reply and respond to everything. Subscribe if I gave you a clear framework for evaluating even complex investment structures, even before and depending on what you're offered. And I'll catch you in the next video.